Hello, welcome back to From Success Principles to Properties. My name is Mike DelPrete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, and we are going to be breaking down the book Success Principles by Mr. Jack Canfield. Also wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. You could get the book online. You can get it on Amazon. You get it at a bookstore. I highly recommend going to get it. Otherwise, if you just want a breakdown of each chapter from my perspective and reading verbatim from the book and throwing some real estate and entrepreneurship thoughts in there, you could watch these videos. This is episode 28, Complete the Past and Embrace the Future. And we are, there's 64 principles in this book that have changed my life, changed the way I think, changed the way I do things. Because one thing he does says, event plus response equals outcome. So you're always in an event. So you're watching this video. How are you going to respond to it? Are you just going to click and move on and say that's a joke? Or are you going to listen to what we have to say here and use the knowledge? Because what will happen is if you move on, you'll get more of the same. More of the same get you more of the same. If you take some nuggets from this and you apply it to your life, and then a new event occurs in your life and you use the wisdom you learned from this show or a book, and you use that wisdom in that event, the response will change and you no longer will get the same that you've always been getting. All right, it doesn't happen immediately, but over time you'll notice progress. So once again, so we'll jump in here. I always like this to double check, make sure the live is working. There's some reason there's technical difficulties all the time. So let's see. Like I said, I'm with AZREIA, the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, number one and largest real estate investing association in the country. We've been holding that for 22 years now. So if you're looking to invest in Arizona or you live in Arizona and you want to do business here, we're here to support you. We have all the resources, tools, information, market information for you to be successful in real estate investing. So check us out. Come to an event. All right, I think we're good. Yeah, we are good. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, throw it in the chat. I'll be here to answer it. If you want to segue into a different topic, totally fine. I'll answer any question you got and have a conversation. But in the meantime, I will just go through the book, complete the past, and embrace the future. None of us can change our yesterdays, but all of us can change our tomorrows. Let's get right to it, right? Like a lot of us are stuck in the past. A lot of us are dwelling there and marinating there and stewing in that those bad times or those tough situations. We've all had them at some level, right? There's no, I can't put any judgment on anything, right? We all have our experiences, right? We're all going through something at some point. So, how do we move on from that and create a new future and not just think about the past, right? We've got to do the best we can. So like I said, I just break down exactly what he says in the book. I'll highlight a few things, read it verbatim, skip, give my thoughts. But if you definitely want to dive deep, go get the book. Does this sound familiar? Some people go through life as they have a big anchor behind them, weighing them down. If they could release it, they would be able to move faster and succeed more easily. Perhaps that's you holding on to the past hurts, past incompletes, past anger, past fear. Yet releasing these anchors can often be the final step you need to complete your past and embrace the future. I've known people who have forgiven their parents and doubled their income for yes, so as well as doubled their productivity and doubled their ability achieving things. I've known others who have forgiven their aggressors for the past harm and been relieved of actual physical ailments. The truth is, we need to let go of the past, embrace the future. And one method I use is called the total truth process, is what Jack says. So he has this process of where you get together with maybe that person that you have pain with, right, or traumatic experience, and he has this process of verbally communicating with them through a series of questions, or if that person doesn't want to talk to you or you're not comfortable talking to them, you can write a letter and you can answer all the questions that he provides to to give that person, right? And sometimes, and I'm not gonna. There's a lot here. There's about, I would say, 30 examples to fill out, and this kind of give you overarching. Um, it's so expressing your anger and like releasing it and letting it be said. Sometimes it's getting it out of your mind and not bottlenecked and built up. You start to feel better, and then if you are having that communication with the other person, some maybe because you're scared to maybe they'll say something, maybe they'll apologize, maybe they'll never know what you were feeling, right? And you guys could hash it out. So just by holding it in and bottling it up never works out. And I'm a prime example. I've dealt with that recently. So don't bottle things up. So I'll go over some of the overarching. Like the first one is anger and resentment. And he said, then I'll have like 4 or 5 different questions. I am angry that, and you say what you're angry at with them. I hate it when you do this. I'm fed up with when you do this. I resent that you did this, right? So those are kind of like the baseline of it. So it's like anger and resentment. Then there's hurt. It hurt when, I felt sad when, you get the idea. Then there's fear. I was afraid that, I feel scared when, I get afraid of when. Then there's remorse, regret. I'm sorry that, please forgive me for. Wants, all I ever wanted or want. I want you to. I wanted, I deserve. And then love, compassion, forgiveness. I understand that. I appreciate that. I love you for. So I'm sure you can Google it, Chat GPT it, and all they'll pop up. But basically saying, um, it's called a total truth letter. So go through that, read a little bit about it, fill that out, and follow the directions. And if you have to do the letter, he says, follow these steps when writing the total truth letter. Write a letter to the person who has upset you with roughly equal portions of the letter expressing each of the feelings in the total truth process. Um, so after some practice, you may find that you go through these 6 stages of the process quickly and less formally, but in times of great difficulty, you will still want to use these stages for guidelines. So get it off your chest, get it out there on the total truth process. Go find it on the internet, write it out, get it in the book, whatever you got to do. So then he goes on to say, forgive and move on. As long as you don't forgive who and whatever it is will occupy rent-free space in your mind. So we're talking about real estate, right? I like that, rent-free space. Our brain, our mind, we in the previous chapter, like I said, this builds on top of each other. It all works together. We talked about mind units. And we have only so much that we could pay attention to at any given time or remember, right? So when you're always irritated and you're frustrated with something going on, you're angry with someone, hey, if you have family, kids, whatever it is, bunch of people living with you, workplace responsibilities, it's easy to have someone at home, someone at work you're annoyed with, angry with, then then that's in your brain. And so then when you bump into someone, you get irritated with them, or you're driving, you get a little road rage, like it all just starts spiraling and building up, and it's annoying, right? So it's like that's just doesn't feel good. There's a scenario where it's like I was at the grocery store paying, and the person in front of me is paying, and they're doing their credit card thing, and I'm talking. I nudge my cart, and it's like, and it hits the ankle like really soft to the person in front. It's like, what the hell are you doing? He goes, oh, sorry, I just accidentally, but hit my cart. I mean, you know, but it's like a huge blow up on me for getting tapped, in line. They're not mad at me because I tapped them. At the end of the day, it's all those frustrations, that bottle up anger that they're dealing with in their personal world, right? So think about that, right? You accidentally tap someone, they're like angry because of their world. Then let's say that person wasn't me and I was the same way, and I'm just bottled up and angry, and then I'm like, what? You can imagine what the danger that could be there with two angry people, right? So let's not be that person, and let's get this stuff out and expressed, and any way you can do it, right? I highly recommend. So although it may seem unusual to mention forgiveness in a book on how to become more successful, the reality is that anger, resentment, and desire for revenge can waste valuable energy that could be directed towards positive goal directed action. So mind units taking up your space. right? That's like buying rental property, right? You buy it, use your hard-earned money, you own it free and clear, or you borrow money from the bank, you got a mortgage payment, and then you put someone in there and they don't pay you rent or they trash your place. Like that's your real estate, right? Like you take that serious, right? You'd get the right tenant in there. You're gonna preserve that property. You're gonna maintain that property, right? You're gonna care about that property, and but it's like every anger or negative issue is taking up space in your brain. So get rid of those bad tenants and put some good tenants in there is what we're saying, right? So forgive and bring yourself back to the present. In the world of business, families, and personal relationships, we too need to come from a place of love and forgiveness to let go so that we can move on. You need to forgive business partners who lied, hurt you financially. You need to forgive coworkers who stole. You need people that gossiped. You need to forgive an ex-spouse. You needn't condone their actions or ever trust them again, but you do need to learn whatever lessons there are to forgive and move on. And I think that's something maybe I've always had issues with. It's like, for okay, forgive them. However, you know, I'll tell you a story. Check this out. This is how crazy. Maybe it's an Italian thing. I don't know, but the grudges. My grandfather, um, he's passed away now, but he in the I think it was like in the 50s or the 60s, like he was young. His brother, they did like a God, he got like an insurance policy. I don't know exactly how it went down, but him and his brother in the 60s or whatever did a deal on insurance, and somehow my grandfather was taken advantage of some sort, and they were angry with each other and they never spoke again, right? And this was in Philadelphia. So now, my grandfather, I think, passed away in like, I want to say '07, 2007 maybe ish. So like he so they never talked to each other again. One one thing went wrong, never forgave each other and never spoke to each other again, right? My grandfather here in 2007 here in Phoenix, he moved here, years before, and we're all here in Phoenix now, and he passed away. And then probably about maybe like 3, 4 months later, after my grandfather passed away, I got a phone call, and it was like a nurse saying, "Hey, is this Ernest DelPrete?" That was my grandfather, my dad's name, and I'm like, "No, this is which one are you looking for? This is I'm the son, whatever." They're like, "Oh, there's ex DelPrete, had just passed away, and we're looking for next kin kind of thing." And I'm like, "No." She's like, "Do you live in Phoenix?" Because she's like, "Yeah, we do." He's like, "Yeah, so does he." I was like, What do you mean? Where does he live?" She was like, "Oh, we're in North Phoenix. We're in North Phoenix." At the end of the day, the brother died in North Phoenix too. Freaking 50 years. They never talked to each other. 50, whatever, how many years is that? 40, almost 50 years they didn't talk to each other. And they both died across the country from Philadelphia in North Phoenix, and they both didn't even know they were there. like like that's crazy, right? Like that's one of my goals, is not to be that, right? I still hold grudges, or it's hard. I'm not the best communicator, but it's like, man, I was like, that don't be that, right? So let go. So I like what the book says. So I was always struck with, like, how am I ever forgive that person? Someone, I'll tell you another story. I have a business partner. When I first started, we had a 50-50 handshake. No paper, just we're excited to do business. Like when you're new into business with somebody, especially when you're new to business, it's like, yeah, let's do this. You want that goal, I got that goal. Let's do it together. We're gonna get rich and we're gonna be great, and everything's great. But you're not thinking about all the bad things. So like when money comes into the picture, people get cloudy. Like they forget things. They forget that handshake. So that's what paperwork is for, right? Negotiating your deal up front, getting everything you could possibly think about on paper. A good quote I've always heard was, negotiate your business agreement with your partner like you hate each other, right? And then run the business like you love each other. So get that on paper. So when a problem occurs, the paper says how you handle it. The paper says how you part ways, right? So it's all said and done and agreed upon. So, so in my situation, we started making some money, making some really good money, neither myself or the other person ever has made money like that. And then all of a sudden, the other person's like, it's all because of me. So I want more money and I want more equity, blah, 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 in the company. And I'm like, this is different, right? It just got stupid. It led to lawyers, led to, fighting back and forth. At the end of the day, ended up spending probably more money on the attorney than actually got from the partnership. So, in what was left over and broken up. So, um, I had to forgive, right? Like I actually talked to that person now. We've hung out, but that doesn't mean like what the book says. That doesn't mean you got to be their friend. You have to hang out with them, and it's up to you. You can, but like just forgive. Just release it within yourself. Hash it out with that person. Part ways doesn't mean you got to stick together forever, but you could still forgive and then move on and keep yourself separated. So, resentment is like drinking poison, then hoping it will kill your enemies. Nelson Mandela, you gotta love that. Um, what else is on here? What hurts you? What hurts you are feeling? Know that I felt many of them too, but also know that what can hurt you even more is harboring then resentment, holding a grudge, and rerunning the same hatred over and over. Think of how many times you think about things when you're mad. What if you thought it like all the times you thought about how angry you were, rather than switching that vision to how successful you were, right? So that's one thing I've learned from Jack is like when I would have a negative thought, he'd be like, "Stop, just catch it. Just start by catching yourself being negative, and just stop. Just start there." And I'd be like, all day I'd be like, "Stop, stop." I'm like, "Oh man, this is getting a lot," but I built a new habit, and I stopped thinking that. I still do, but you get what I'm saying. Like you could control it. So catch yourself doing that. The following steps for forgiving. The following steps are all integral for forgiving. Acknowledge your anger and resentment. So acknowledge you do it. Acknowledge the hurt and pain it created. Acknowledge the fears and self doubts that it created. Own any part you may have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. There's two sides to every story, and we do have responsibility. Sometimes like we don't like to be wrong, but it's hard to say, hey, I have a part in this. I may have done something too, that triggered that person, right? Or whatever it may be. So really take some responsibility. Let it go and forgive the person. If you're paying attention, you probably notice that these steps involve the 6 stages of the truth process. Um, he has some affirmations he goes over. And then he says if they can do it, he said when he wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he always has like these cool stories that you can read that really drive home the point. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you a story and read the 5 paragraphs on it. But you get the idea of this video. I want to keep it to the point so you can move on with your day. So don't bottle it up. Forgive, let go, free up that mind space for better things. Catch yourself when you're being negative and replace it with something positive. So if you're looking to get into real estate investing, here at AZREIA, the Arizona Real Estate Investor Association, we're here for you. We're online, we're in person. So if you're local, come to a networking event. Come check us out. Go to azreia.org/calendar. We have in the description, I got a link for a bunch of ebooks and different strategies. Highly recommend if you're new, very new, come check out all the different strategies you can make money in real estate, whether it's fix and flipping, landlording, wholesaling, notes, being a lender. We can help you, guide you through all that, right? We have over 15 events a month. If you're out of state and you want to invest in Arizona, because we're such a great market, we have the resources for you to build your team, business associates. We have attorneys, property managers, real estate agents, title companies, insurance agents, construction, you name it. We got every piece of the puzzle you need for a successful real estate business here for all real estate investors. So second Monday of every month, we do our big meeting where over 200 investors get together in Scottsdale, Arizona. And this month, the time of this recording is February, so it's Fix and Flip February. So Home Depot is our partner, and they're coming out, and we're gonna do a bus tour and with Tracy Royce, and so that's gonna be fun. So, like I said, we do that all year, that type of stuff all year long. So come hang out with us. Love to meet you in person. I'm always here at our office in Central Phoenix. So go to AZREIA.org. We're on all social media platforms. Check us out, AZREIA. So that's a wrap for From Success Principles to Properties. Next episode, we will dive into face what isn't working, and then check back for that, or go back to episode number 1 and check them all out. Make sure to leave a comment, subscribe to the AZREIA page, watch the replay. I appreciate you, and that's a wrap.